we try to allow as much access as possible, but my view is it can't get in the way of her being able to campaign. I wasn't there, but I saw some press reports that described it as chaotic, and so they put the put the rope up to keep so that the parade could continue and she could be able to talk to voters.
The media wouldn't allow this to happen with any of the Republican candidates. If we tried to put a rope line around the media when we were at our parade in Wolfboro, New Hampshire on Saturday, there would have been a riot right then. Why not for Mrs. Clinton?
So the rope situation at the parade in New Hampshire, is it an enduring image that the Clinton campaign now has to deal with? Let's start there on politics and bring in our panel. Syndicated columnist George Will, Mara Eliason, national political correspondent, National Public Radio, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. George.
Well, Mrs. Clinton stands accused of mistreating the media, which may be one of the more popular positions a politician can take in this country. What's startling is that she has allowed her reticence to be so noisy, as it were. It's now become the principal fact about her campaign is the fact that she's not talking to people. This sets her up to disappoint a lot of people because eventually she's going to sit down and have an interview and people are going to find out whether or not she has something to say about things like the Keystone Pipeline and trade agreements and all the rest. So I think she's mishandled this. It's redundant evidence that she does not have much aptitude for politics. But as for regard to mistreating the media, I think is a winner.
Yeah, because people hate the media. They don't like us to begin with. But this is an image, though, that is a lot easier to explain and show somebody than it is not talking to the press or not answering questions and talking about that in some story.
I think not talking to the press and not answering questions over time is a much bigger problem for her, not only because she's not maybe showing that she can answer these questions, but also she's not getting the practice of doing it. It's really important that she gets the hang of being asked tough questions because she's going to be in a really tough campaign with one of these Republicans. So I think that's really bad for her. As far as an enduring visual image, that doesn't do it for me. I agree with George. People don't like the press. They could have said to the press, you stand on the side in this designated spot, and when she comes by, you can get your shot, or you can be put on a truck, I suppose. But people want to see...
No, Jen Paul Mary said there was no truck.
There was no truck.
This early in the campaign.
Yeah, all right, down the road, if she walks in on the July 4th thing.
Owns some of this.
That's right. And the thing is that voters want to be able to see her. If she was completely covered with a scrum of reporters and ordinary New Hampshire voters couldn't get in there to shake her hand, that would have been even worse.
So Chris Christie, Jeb Bush, all those people don't have a problem?
I think they have a point, because I think that anything would be made a big deal out of. But this has become a problem for her, not just the rope line, just the fact that she's not answering questions. That's the bigger issue.
She's doing an interview tomorrow, apparently, with another network.
Right, a well-chosen interviewer who I believe attended the wedding of one of her staffers. So you can see how hands-off and objective and tough this is going to be. Look, I think this image is more of a statement about the press than it is about Hillary. The idea of them being corralled like a bunch of lowing cows and going along with it. I mean, this is sort of the image that conservatives have painted forever of how the press is acquiescent, and it isn't a good visual. But I think the reason for all this is not necessarily her. This is a fake campaign. This is a woman, this is a candidate who's going to be the nominee. We all know it. For all of the burning momentum stuff, that's a sideshow. But she has to go through 15, 16 months of a ritual of actually campaigning. There is no campaign. There's not going to be a debate. There isn't a challenge. So she's stuck for these 15 or so months pretending to be a candidate, and what you get are pretend events.
To be fair, Breonna Keeler can ask some tough questions at CNN. I want to